Hello and welcome to another exciting video. Now in this one, we'll be learning the fundamentals of re-rendering a React application. Now applications aren't really applications if they don't change over time to represent changes in the application over time. Normally in React, you'll use the state to manage this, but before we get to that, we'll just use React DOM.render on the same element so you get an understanding of what React is doing for you. So we will learn how React deals with the new elements you give it, compare it to the previous elements, and make surgical updates to the DOM to give you the fastest and best user experience possible. Because updating the DOM is typically the slowest part in the whole process. Over here you can see that we have made a clock application, and this is the local time that it is showing. Now the problem with this is that I have to reload this page every time to give the updated time to the user. So here I keep on reloading and then only this is getting updated with the actual time. Now what I need to do instead is I'm going to put this into a function. So let's go ahead and do that first. Over here I'll create a function. Let's call that function as tick, and we'll be keeping this two lines over here and this react.dom as well. So let's take this out and put it over here. And now we have a function called tick, and we'll be calling this tick now over here. So that is fine, but still it has not resolved this issue. So what I need to do over here is to make use of a set interval method, and here I will be passing tick as the first parameter and then the duration, after which this tick method is called again. So when I'll do that, it's going to call the tick method every time and I'll be getting the desired result. With the set interval and tick method, when we are calling this method, the element that is being created by JSX will ensure that only the time gets updated. But if we go ahead and make use of string interpolation and try to get the same result, let's see what happens. So over here, instead of these brackets, we'll have the ellipsis symbol, and here we have made it a string literal. Now I'll be using a string interpolation over here to have this time value. Now next what I need to do is I need to set the root elements inner HTML. So let's have the root HTML over here and set its inner HTML and pass the element to that so that we have the whole thing evaluated and then assigned to this root element, and then we are making use of the react DOM.render, and here we'll have our dollar symbol, and then you can see that it is still giving us the result. But if you closely watch the console log, every time this whole thing is getting updated, that's why it's getting collapsed. See, so whatever content is inside this, everything is getting rendered again and again. And to see this in action in a more better way, let's have input tags over here. So what we'll do is we'll have two input tags, let's say over here. So we'll remove this div and this time as well. And here we are having this input tags, and then you can see that it's now rendering. But if I put a cursor over here, it's losing its focus because these input elements are being re-rendered every time. And that is the reason why the focus is getting lost. Now let's get back to our React way of rendering this. So we'll have our brackets back, and here we'll be closing it. Let's get rid of the root element from this place, and we'll be getting rid of the dollars as well. Now let's save this, and there you have. Now if I put a cursor over here, you can see that the focus is still in that input box, and the only thing that's getting updated is the time. And I can go ahead and explore this in developer console as well, and you can see that in action, that the only value is getting updated, but the focus is still where I kept it. Now this has great implications for the performance of our applications as well as the accessibility, because React is keeping track of our focus for us. This isn't how you normally re-render new application. Typically, whenever state changes, you don't have to re-render your entire application. But I just wanted to show you this so you have an understanding of what React is really doing for you. When you create these React elements, you give that to React DOM.render, or you trigger a re-render of a component, and React is going to compare the elements that you returned this time with the elements that you returned last time. It's going to do a diff of those two elements, and then it will update the DOM surgically to only update the things that were different between the last time and this time your returned JSX.